think it's working. Where's my chat? Come on, OBS. Where's my chat? All right. Apparently it's working, but I don't see my chat. Come on, baby. There we go. There's my chat. Hey, hello, wonderful folks. How you doing? All right, cool. We got a live stream going on. Yay! I am going to go spam my Discord really quick with a notification that we are live. And I will do that. We shall be going. Oh my gosh. I have so many private messages in Discord. Okay, that's not why I'm here. Let's go over here. Nope, that's the wrong thing. What am I doing? What are my events? Uh-oh, I have 2 events set up for next Thursday. That's what happened. The Discord pooped out on me. All right, anyway, that's not what I'm doing. I'm like distracted. Let's go over to videos and streams. All right. Hello, folks. Tonight on the live stream, we are chilling and answering folks' questions. Whee! There we go. Get that bad boy in there. Giddy up. All right, rock and roll. Are you guys holding events at Gen Con, or is it just a booth? So we're not gonna have a booth at Gen Con. Like that's not an easy thing to get. Our products will be at the Crown CRWN booth. They're gonna have a booth up, and they carry the products of they'll have our products, and I'm pretty sure they have some Ginny D's products. And then who else do they do fulfillment for? They do fulfillment for a few other influencers, so they'll have some other people's products there as well. But if you're looking for our products, like, they'll be at their booth at Gen Con. But if you're just looking for me, I will be wandering around. I haven't actually made any games or anything yet. I think I'm gonna try if I haven't missed the deadline or something, or I might not make any of my own games, and I'll just wander around and maybe join some games or something. I have no idea. Who knows? I like to keep those, when I go to like Gen Con and stuff like that, I try to keep my schedule pretty open because I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't like to schedule a whole lot of crap. So anyway, you've double booked myself. I have. On Discord, if you look at my events, I have 2 live streams next Thursday at the same time. Same live stream, same time. I'm going to have to say everything twice or something. I don't know how I'm going to handle that. Or I'm going to have to just cancel one of them, which... Canceling a live stream. I don't know if I can do that. Mr. Gore, Squeaky's not here yet. You have to give Squeaky a little. Oh, nope. I lied. He is here. Come on, Squeaky. Mr. Gore wants me to pet you. I didn't think he was here. He's right here. Oh, we should probably get this bad boy going. All right, let's get to the big screen here. All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? Welcome to the live stream. I am joined by my co-host Squeaky here. He is here almost every live stream, sitting right here, chewing on my arm, and I'm sure he will be doing that tonight. So, welcome to the live stream. Tonight we're just hanging out, answering questions. So drop your questions in the chat, and we're just gonna hang and talk. It's just really chill and cool. That's pretty much all we're doing. Yeah, that's tonight's live stream. Now we do have what do we got going on here? We have a giveaway. We always have a giveaway. So there is a link in the chat. Once, if Nightbot is working, or if one of our lovely moderators, and I'm sure they're all lovely. Like, I know who's in chat. Greg Piet, he's very lovely, very lovely. Who else? Who other moderators we have in chat tonight? Is it just Greg? Greg, are you flying solo tonight? Oh, baby, Greg. Greg is like, I'm going to be swinging this wrench all by myself. Yeah, Greg throws a link to the giveaway in there. We'll draw the winner to the giveaway at the end of the stream tonight. The winner will win $50 DM Lair store credit, where you can get a whole bunch of cool crap. We have Lairs and Legends 1 books are now back in stock. We have Secret Art of Game Mastery in stock as well. And we got all of Lair magazine. We have Foundry VTT packs. There are map packs. There are standalone adventures. We have tons of Game Master resources over on the DM Lair store for both 5th edition and Pathfinder 2. So tonight's winner will win $50 store credit and go grab themselves something cool off our store. Brr, squeaky. All right. It's exclamation point, Greg. Not / it's exclamation point giveaway, and then it'll toss the thingy in there. You're gonna tip coffee on me while I'm trying to drink, you little maniac? There you go. That should work. Exclamation point. What would be your Israel says? What would be your recommendation for the winner? Geez. I mean, Lairs of Legends 1 is crazy. It's like over 700 pages of content for your games, like adventures, monsters, traps, puzzles. It's got tons of crap in there to use in your games. And so that's really cool. If you don't have Secret of Game Mastery, I mean, that's pretty cool too. But geez, if I as a game master had to pick a resource, I'd want more adventures and traps and puzzles and stuff to use in my games. Probably that would be my guess. So, but I don't know. You're making me choose amongst my children. You know, which one of my products is best. That's a hard thing. You know, it's like choosing one of my cats. I don't know that it would be this fat tub, except he's adorable. All right, so, okay, giveaway, and then the charity. We always are raising money for someone that needs it. So tonight, let me go over to my monitor. Arrgh. Tonight, we're raising money for the City Rescue Mission of Lansing. This is a local homeless shelter. They provide food and housing to those who need it. I personally support them. I give them money every single month out of my own pocket. I give to a lot of different charities. This is one of them. I believe in what they're doing. They have over 100 beds. I know that they're doing an expansion because I get their newsletter every so often. They're doing an expansion to increase the number of beds to like, something tells me it was like 140 or something. They literally bought some additional buildings adjacent to the one they're currently in and are, remodeling and getting it ready so they can expand the number of beds they can give and help people. Obviously they give food, so they have like a kitchen and stuff that you can go there. But they're basically helping those who need help, who don't have housing, who don't have food, that are trying to get back on their feet, get off the streets and, get their lives back to probably where they want them to be. So we are raising money for them. If you would like to donate, please send us your tip. There should be a link in the chat where you can tip. Please do not send super chats. We do not want to give YouTube any more money. They have plenty of money. If you tip, 100% of all of your tips will go to the charity. And if, by the way, when you donate to charities on our streams, will you stop biting me? Holy crap. He started already. You'll notice right here that there are charity donation perks. If you donate $25, I will do push-ups on stream right over there on that camera. And $50 will get me to dance. And I am a horrible dancer, so that'll be entertaining. Now, I'm okay at push-ups, so I'll hold my own there, but dancing I suck at. So if you really want to make me humiliate myself on stream, not that I care at all, I just don't. But you can make, I don't know, whatever. See me do something stupid, you can donate $50 to the charity. And you'll be helping the homeless, and you'll be making me look dumb and punish me, I suppose. Make me suffer. So, I mean, if you don't care about helping people and you just want to make me suffer, well, you can get whatever way, your jollies, you can be happy. So anyway, though, and uh-oh, dang it. I have a computer problem. Will you stop biting me? I have this computer problem I have this thing that keeps happening on my computer, and it freezes my computer every time it happens. There. All right, the last thing we got to do is our patron shout-outs. He's just gonna keep biting me. I swear I'm gonna pick this guy up and rough his belly up, man. All right, all of the wonderful people you see on the screen right here are our wonderful patrons. They help support the content that we create. We got our live streams, obviously, our videos we put up on our channel, and we have tons of free resources over on the dmlair.com as well for both 5th edition and Pathfinder 2. And obviously our patrons also get our premium content, which is Lair magazine every month, along with bonus rule sets. We have Escape from the Fae, which I'm writing currently. That goes to our $25 level and above patrons. So they're getting Escape from the Fae. And yeah, patrons do get a whole bunch of cool stuff. Obviously they get their names on screen, and the next batch of patrons, I'm going to read their names out loud. So we are very thankful to our wonderful patrons who help make everything we do possible. And now we are going to these guys, and we're going to read their names out loud because they support at a higher level. Whee! Where's my thingy bobber? There we go. All right, here we go. Aaron H, Agile M, Alex S, Alexander O, Elithana, Alan D, Elithina, Amanda W's, Ambers, Angelique K, Anton K, Art Soccer, Ashley, Alucas, Beavis Khan, Bees in Space, Ben D, Black Wolf, Bradley H, Brandon P, Brian D, Brian O, Brian the Lion, Brian J, Carl C, Chaotic Wolf, Christine B, Christopher G, Clay W, Colette H, Colin W, Connor D, Contrary Gravy, Corey A, Courtney H, Kuan B, Dara T, Dazzled Up, David B, David S, The Wolf, Dalen W, Dean B, Derek E, Dice Goblin Wannabe, Don D, Draxus, Dreams Gone, Dungeon of Terra, Ed R, Edward B, Edward L, Infrabo, and Dorian 72, Eric B, Forrest Brew, Frank B, Gabriel T, Gene A, Gene W, George E, George R, Greg P, Guapo, Gubin, GVTM, Heart U, HLD, Important, Iron Cascade, Jackie Pizza, Jacob H, Jacob K, James L, JC Hansen, Jeff S, Jeremy W, Jarig, Jim P, Joanne P, Joel J, John B, John D, John the Wicked, John Pinkanos, Jonathan F, Jonathan S, Jonathan V, Jordan A, Jose B, Joseph H, Josh M, Josh S, Juan, Justin J, Kevin W, Killsaber K, Kirby Kitty Stalker, Laura L, Laser, Leah, Lionheart, Linda, Loki, Lord H, Libraclaw, Matlock, Macy S, Mama D, Marcel V, Mark K, Marcus, Martin E, Master Noob, Matthew C, Meepy, Michael S, Michelangelo, Mika J, Mirostal, Mitchell, Mo20s, Mordakin, Morganth, Morve, Nerd Over 9000, Nicholas S, Nick H, Nostramo, Old Man Mage, Oleg, Patrick D, Paul C, Paul S, Pathnick, Pivotal, Porkchop Bacon, Puppet Master, Randall C, Randy B, Rebar, Renner C, Richard M, Robert C, Robin B, Rope L, Ross A, Ryan, Saul R, Seguro, Samantha J, Sarah P, Scott C, Scott R, Shadow, Shane L, Sean the Ice, Simfan, Soul Bora Gaming, Soul Naya, Stephen G, Stephen B, Stephen G, Stephen T, Steve S, Sturm, T Warner, Tabletop Nerd, Tyla, Therese T, Terry V, the Old DM, the Diabolical DM, the Jackal, the Dice Dragon, the Fuzzle, the New Bed, Ombre, Thomas F, Thor J, TK, Tom B, Tom T, Travels T, Trinity S, Tuna, Tyler D, Tyler R, Valagor, Victor W, Victoria Q, Vladimir S, Volhoff, Wesley K, William C, XX Redrum, Zombie Trami. Yay! We made it. I only screwed up a few of them tonight, I think. I think I did well. All right. All right, let's look at questions. Let's do this. Monsters are about to attack my party during a long rest. Is it fair for me to assume that everyone who was asleep is unarmored? Not if you're running D&D 5th edition. D&D 5th edition has literally no rules for sleeping in armor. Oh, you know what? I think they might have added something in... Oh, what is the name of that book? It's not Tasha's. It's another one. I don't... They have all these like fancy names for their books. What the heck was that? Xanathars. I think they may have added an optional rule in Xanathars, if I'm remembering correctly, about sleeping in armor. But in D&D 5th edition, the core rules at least, there are no penalties for sleeping in armor. So like entire groups have these long like discussions and arguments about players who want to sleep in their armor because like why wouldn't you if the game rules allow for it? And then dungeon masters who are like, that's ridiculous. You can't sleep in your armor and get rest from it. Are you kidding me? Armor is like not that comfortable, man. So, but the core rules, there are no stipulations against sleeping in your armor. Even though there probably should be, unless it's like maybe even leather armor is like, traditionally leather armor is not soft and subtle. It's like hard boiled leather armor. Like it's usually boiled in oil, or like I made leather armor myself once. I was in SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism. We did like combat and crap. And I took paraffin wax and melted it over leather and hardened it a lot. But even leather armor is hard. It's hard. It's not soft because it wouldn't stop anything if it were soft. It's like hardened and crap. So armor is not, and it's hot too. Like when I wore armor, it was warm. You didn't want to sleep in this crap if you didn't have to, unless it's cold out. If it's like winter out, then okay, yeah, maybe. But even then, it's like metal gets cold and crap. I don't know, man. But I don't think you should assume that everybody's unarmored. I think that should be a discussion the group has. You know, when you guys sleep, there needs to be rules or an agreement of like how that works in your game. You know. So now Pathfinder 2 has some rules against sleeping in armor, and I don't remember exactly what it is because it hasn't come up a whole lot, but I'm pretty sure there's some sort of negative drawback if you sleep in your armor, which is completely reasonable. There should be. I forget exactly what it is. Either you don't benefit from the rest, or you have a level of drained or something. I forget what the game term is in Pathfinder 2, but there's some negative drawback from sleeping in armor. I can't remember what it is offhand. Mr. Gore says you gain no benefit if you remain in heavy or medium armor during a long rest. Oh, is that Pathfinder 2? Puppet Master says light armor you are good. Medium and heavy says you don't get levels of exhaustion back. Levels of exhaustion. So that's it. That's the only drawback. Yeah, that's stupid. And I don't know why light armor would be good. I think the classifications of armor in D&D are stupid. Like they don't even make any sense. Like I feel like from a historical sense, like the different. What are the stupid things? Hold on. All right, we're gonna look at the armor. And where is my bookmark? Okay, so we have armor. This will be fun. We have padded armor. Now, padded armor is like a gambeson, probably. All right, and a gambeson is, well, I mean, there are probably different ways to do it, but the way that I've read about the most is you take like. It's multiple layers of like linen or something. Multiple layers, like lots and lots and layers of these linen. And they probably sew it together or something. And sometimes I've heard that they put some sort of padding in there, like straw or something, or some sort of padding as well in this gambeson. But that's like padded leather armor. And it's thick, it's pretty heavy, and it is pretty resilient. Like it's pretty stinking resilient. And I can't imagine that it's not hot. Like it's gonna keep you very warm. So sleeping in that, I don't know. So when I was doing ska and crap, there were guys that had gambesons, like serious gambesons. Now I didn't wear one underneath my armor, but they had one under theirs, and it was some serious stuff. So I can't imagine you're gonna sleep in that. Leather armor is hard. It's like wearing plate armor. It's not as heavy, but it's just as stiff and rigid. I can't imagine sleeping in leather armor and getting. I mean, you have the same drawbacks as sleeping in like stinking plate or half plate or something, I would imagine. Now, studded leather doesn't even exist. Studded leather is not even a thing. Historically, it never existed. It's not even a thing. They just probably it was some sort of brigandine or something that had metal plates on the back, and then there were like leather on the front with studs that showed through. and that's probably the original makers of D&D, you know, were like looking at old medieval drawings and stuff, or pictures and crap, and they saw these studs on leather, and they're like, studded leather. No, there was a metal backing, leather over the front, or some sort of cloth or something, and then the studs were showing through, but that was a type of metal armor, you know, probably like brigandine or something. And so, but they made up leather armor because they're just, I don't know, they didn't know any better, I suppose. They didn't, you know, less history and more fantasy or something, I don't know. But studded leather doesn't even exist, it's not even a thing. So it's in your book and you wear it and crap, but it's not even a thing. And even if it were, it would offer no protection, just leather with some little metal studs on it. It's not gonna do anything. Not if it's not hardened, reinforced with something. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I don't think that light armor, you should be able to get away with sleeping in them. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now hide armor, I don't see how hide armor is any different than leather armor. It's pretty much got to be the same thing. I mean, leather armor is made out of leather. Hide is a hide, which is leather. So like hide is what? It's got fur on it still. It's got to be hardened though. It still has to be hardened, or it's probably not going to be super effective. So I don't know why it's medium. It's probably the same thing as leather or something. A chain shirt. Now, a chain shirt, you're probably going to have a gambeson underneath it, the padding, and then you're going to have a chain shirt over top of it. And chain shirts in general are probably not super heavy, and they're very flexible and stuff. So that's almost the same as probably wearing a gambeson, wearing just padded leather armor or padded armor. Then you got the chain shirt on top of it, but it's going to add a little bit, but it's not that bad. It's certainly not going to make it less comfortable or less uncomfortable or more uncomfortable. It's just going to have a little bit of weight added onto it. Now, scale mail, that's probably good. That's a bit more rigid. That's going to definitely be a little bit harder to sleep in. Breastplate. I don't know if you only have a breastplate on. So if you're just wearing a breastplate and then probably has pauldrons on it, which makes sense. And then underneath the breastplate, you're going to have a gambeson still. You're still going to have padded armor underneath your breastplate. So the breastplate in and of itself is probably not that uncomfortable to sleep in, maybe. But then you have the padded part underneath it. So that's probably not going to be very comfortable, I would guess. Half plate. Now we're talking about some very rigid, hard armor that's probably not going to be super comfortable to sleep in. Ring mail, chain mail, splint plate. Yeah, all the heavy armors I think are going to be probably not super comfortable to sleep in. But a chain mail is probably like a chainmail hauberk, I would imagine, something like that. All of the heavy armor is going to have the padded underneath it, so it's got to have a gambeson underneath it, I would imagine. So yeah, you're probably not going to sleep in any of that. But I don't know. I think that a lot of the light armors that they list in the book are probably not going to be very comfortable to sleep in either. I think a lot of them are just probably going to be no-goes. And some of them historically probably don't even exist. But they're never going to get rid of studded leather armor. Studded leather armor has been around for like 50 years, right? You can't get rid of that. That's like ingrained in D&D. It's like getting rid of alignment. When's that going to happen? Nobody uses it, and when they do use it, it's usually used wrong, improperly, or vindictively. So, but yet it's still in the game. Yeah, the kitty's trying to read. That's what the kitty's trying to do. Yeah. Do we open up the longsword being a one-handed weapon debate as well at this point? Oh, let's look at the longsword. I'm glad you brought this up. Longsword. Longsword. It is versatile. Ooh, that means that you can use one hand on it or two hands. That seems very reasonable to me. Sure. All right, I think we're done. That was a quick debate. Whee! Adam, I have not looked at any of those games, no. Israel says don't mess with the alignment. I know, people like alignment. I like alignment too. Mr. Gore says, I think hide is multiple layers. Who knows? All right, I'm prowling for questions here. Salmon Roll says, thank you for the awesome advice for new game masters, especially the just start. You're welcome, dude. Happy to help. My GM had to take a break. I offered to run a short adventure. Now, 4 months down the line, playing weekly. Yeah, dude, that's how it happens. That's how it always happens. The DM's like, I'm gonna take a break. And then you're like, hey, I'll help while you're taking your break. And the DM's like, sounds good. Sounds good. And then like months later, you're like, wait a second, I've been had. And then you're the game master. Good job, man. But don't worry, being a game master is way more fun. Way more fun. You're always playing the game. Even when you're not at the game session, you're playing the game. When you're a player, you're most of the time when I'm a player, this is what me being a player looks like. Waiting for 15 minutes, doing nothing. Oh, and then I talk and do something for like a few minutes. Waiting for 15 minutes, doing nothing. Oh, and then I get to talk and do something. Waiting for 15 minutes, doing nothing. It's like, that's boring, man. I don't want to be a player. Uh-oh, here we go. Get the butt in the air. Just in case somebody wants to sniff it. Nobody wants to sniff it. Thank you, though. Joseph Crichton has arrived. Welcome, my dude. Yeah, the DM's like freedom, totally. Absolutely, 100%. What's your best character creation tip? Okay, so here's my best character creation tip. All of the stupid videos about like the top 10 feats and the top 10 this and like, what do they do? The S, they do that ranking stuff where it's like S is like the top ranking and then there's an A, B, C or something. All their dumb ranking systems, don't watch any of that. Ignore all that crap. Ignore all that crap. Make something that you think will be fun to play. That's what you should do. You can, if you can get your brain deep diving into all these stupid videos and Reddit threads and crap about ranking and what's the best way to do this and optimize that and stuff. And I don't know, I've always found that when I get into that mentality, it just takes away from the fun of just making some characters and then playing the game, because then I'm ultra worried about optimizing and min-maxing and having the best character, and then, oh no, I built it wrong and I didn't do this one thing correctly and now I gotta start over or ask my game master if I can change it. I think that my best advice is to ignore all that bull crap, ignore all that horse crap, and just make a character that you think is gonna be fun to play. And then when they die, make a new one that you think will be fun to play. And just keep playing some characters and having fun. I feel like that's always what's been the most fun for me. You big fluffy bucket. S is for super? Okay, thank you. I don't do those dumb ranking videos. I don't do those things. I just don't. I don't care. I don't care, man. I could probably get more views and bullcrap if I did, but I don't care about that crap. And everybody else does that stuff anyway, so who cares? Overtured Gaming says the best thing is to put on some good music and start writing. Ignore the vids and all the advice. Yeah, just start doing something. You know, some of the best music that I have, like I love... You guys remember Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer from like in the 80s? The ones that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in? So Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. The music from those movies, what do they call it? The musical score? Is that what they call that stuff? Oh, it is outstanding. It is some of the best, most like inspiring, like fantasy themed music that you're going to find. It is absolutely amazing. I love the musical score from Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. It's so good. So a lot of times when I am like, it's in my playlist, a lot of times when I'm gonna like write a D&D adventure or prepare for my Pathfinder 2 game or something, I put that music on. And it'll just sit there and play you know, the entire, like, whatever they call it, album or whatever. Shh, just let it go. It's some good stuff. Have you tried any of the OSEE or other old school games that are out there? I don't think so. I don't think I've played any of those. No. Have you looked at the Tales of the Valiants PDF? I really like the luck mechanic and was curious about your thoughts. I perused through it very quickly at one point just to kind of get a feel for like whether I thought it would be compatible with D&D 5th edition or not. And I think it is. I think it's completely compatible. And in fact, this wasn't too long ago. This was like a week or something ago. I got an email from them and I went to like their site or something, and they're literally billing Tales of the Valiant as 5th edition compatible. Like the game system as a whole is compatible with D&D 5th edition. And so I'm like, okay, cool. That's kind of what I needed to know. So, but I haven't really looked through it a whole lot. I backed it. I should be getting, I have access to the PDF. I literally have some emails in my inbox where it's like, Luke, go download the PDF. And I just keep not doing that because I have other work to do. But I should get the books at some point as well. I imagine. I don't know when those are going to be because I get all these Kickstarter updates and I'm just like, I don't have time to read you. Goodbye. Yeah, I've played Dungeon Crawl Classics. Yep, I played a few games of Dungeon Crawl Classics. That was fun. What I really my gripe with Dungeon Crawl Classics at conventions is all you ever see being played are the funnels. That's it. They're only ever playing funnels. So I've never gotten to experience Dungeon Crawl Classics beyond a funnel. It's like every time you go to a convention, it's a funnel. It's like, well, I mean, gosh, you know, you can't even really say that you've played Dungeon Crawl Classics if you've only played a funnel. I feel like, because the funnel, a Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel, it's like it doesn't even use a lot of the stuff in the books. You know, for like most of the stuff doesn't even get used. All of your different classes, like, you know, your wizard or your fighter or whatever, you know, it doesn't get used. It's just the funnel is just really generic. You have ability scores and that's kind of it. You don't do a whole lot. So I don't even think, I personally wouldn't consider running Dungeon Crawl Classic funnels as actually playing Dungeon Crawl Classic. I feel like you have to get into like the meat of the game a little bit more and experience the game system like for real before you can say you've actually played it. I mean, so technically I can claim to have played it, but it's kind of just like I don't know. It's like a facade almost, you know, but I don't know. But I couldn't find it. Like, I'm literally at these conventions. I was at GaryCon and I'm just like, I want to play in a Dungeon Crawl Classic game. And everything on there was funnels. And I'm just like, why is everything a funnel, man? I got the books. I can read. I want to, yeah, but anyway. Robert Christian says, Luke literally does all his videos as top 10 style. Well, it's not top 10, but I do tend to do list videos. That is correct. I find that lists do a couple things. First of all, lists are pretty good for teaching. Like if you're gonna tell somebody how to do a thing, you know, like if you're gonna say, okay, this is how you can get better at preparing for your game, you know, then you're gonna give them like a list of things to do. You know, here are 5 things you should do. Or if you're gonna tell them how to do a thing, well, there are a number of steps in how to do a thing. So just from like a teaching standpoint, lists are very useful, very useful. The Rocket Couch says, so it sounds like it wasn't a very funnel experience. I mean, you only ever get to the end of the funnel and you never get to take a level 1 and actually play at level 1 or anything, you know? Yeah, that's what happened with me, Anthony. Like we get through the funnel and then you technically are level 1, but you never advance your character and you never play at level 1. You just get through the funnel. So you're level 0 the whole time. What's the best place to get dice for collectors? in your opinion? I don't know. I mean, it depends on like what kind of dice you want to collect. I honestly, I don't know a whole lot about dice. I am not a big dice collector. Like a lot of the dice I have in my cabinet over there were either gifted to me or I got them for free because I was doing like a sponsored bit for a Kickstarter about dice, which I actually ended up backing that Kickstarter and getting that dice too. But like, I don't know. And then obviously I have some like starter sets of dice and dice bags and crap, but like, I'm not a big dice guy. I just kind of, I mean, cool dice are fine, but like, I don't get super excited about it. They're just dice, you know? I like metal dice though. I like metal dice. I like hard, heavy metal dice. Those feel really cool in my hands, and they make lots of noise when you roll them, you know. And you can throw them at players too, and it usually, you know, keeps them back. Were you trying to make a pun, Rocket Couch, when you said it wasn't a very funnel experience? I was wondering if that was a pun or not, but I wasn't sure. Michael Borrell, as a teller of dad jokes, I appreciated it. Adrian, what's up, dude? You're here for the first time. Welcome. It's 1 a.m. Holy crap. You must be in the UK or something. Europe somewhere would be my... No, that's not Europe. Where the heck are you, dude? It's 1 a.m.? That's not Europe yet. Is it? Is that 1 a.m.? Is that Europe time, roughly? GG's, what's up? My party is going into the lower floor of the Amber Temple. Ooh. And I don't think they're getting it right as the deathly trap it is. A huge hug from Argentina. Well, thank you. Hugs back. Yeah, Amber Temple's fun. What level is your party? I think my group was like level 10 or so when they went into the Amber Temple. They were somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly. Do you use a Crown Royal felt bag as a dice bag? No, I've heard of those though. I've heard of those. Somebody was telling me about those. I don't remember what they were saying, but that rings a bell. Yeah. Joseph likes to chuck dice at their players, so they always need more. Yeah, you can get in trouble that way though. You hurt somebody, you know, you can poke an eye out. Oh, it is 1 a.m. in Central Europe? And Kelly Penders is like, yeah, I know. Blend, it's Belgium 1 a.m. Holy crap, you guys. You need to go to bed, man. What are you doing? He's like, yeah, we would be in bed, Luke, except for your stupid live streams are at 1 a.m., man. What's your problem? I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. It's normal time for me. See? You buy a dice bag and get a free bottle of whiskey with it. Ooh, wait a second. What are they called? Royal Crown? Royal Crown? Is that what it's called? Hold on. Royal Crown. Is that what, Royal Crown? Wait, what was the name of it? Crown Royal. Okay, Crown Royal. Crown Royal. What is that? Oh, it's Canadian whiskey. I have never had any of that. I like whiskey too. Oh, yeah, you get a bag with it. Oh, I'll have to try some of that. Interesting. They all come with the bag? Oh, man. I'm gonna have to go grab some of that. I'm sure I can get it at the local store. Is Crown Royal pretty ubiquitous? Like you can find it at most places, or is it like a special thing that you have to like search for or something? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't like have a super discerning palate when it comes to this stuff, you know. I'll just drink it and be like, oh, it burns, ah! And then I'll like, I have this one that's called Devil's Cut. It's by, who makes Devil's Cut? Hold on a second. It's a famous company. Devil's Cut. I just can't remember. It's Devil's Cut Bourbon by Jim Beam. But there's this one called Devil's Cut that Jim Beam makes that, oh my word, That sucker burns about as much as I've ever had like hard alcohol burn, man. It's like you can feel like your esophagus. No, that would be your where you breathe. No, esophagus. That's where you swallow, right? Because there's two tubes right here. One's the esophagus, and the other is the other one. Am I getting them right? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Anyway, Devil's Cut burns hard, man. So it sounds like Crown Royal is very popular and readily available. Okay. The bag is like its signature? Okay, cool. Green Whiskey says it tastes like effervescent petroleum with notes of fire and harsh spring tones of sewage and smoke. I gotta try that. Which one are you talking about, dude? Trachea. Okay. So what is the trachea? Matthew, what is the trachea? Which one is the trachea? What is the one that food goes down? That's all I need to know. Food and drink. Which one does that go down? You have the esophagus and the trachea. I don't know which is which. The trachea equals air. Esophagus equals food. Marco, thank you. You are my hero, dude. You just saved me. Anthony says, I think Devil's Cut is like barrel strength or some such. Yeah, I don't know what Devil's Cut is, but it is. I'll like I mean, we have some, right? And like, I drink it like once a month. I'll just be like, oh, let's have some whiskey tonight. And I'll go get like a little bit of it in a glass. And like, I'll have a little bit, you know, and I'm just like, oh, it burns. And then my wife is usually there watching TV with me. And I'll like, pass it over to her, and she's like, I'm not drinking that. And I'm like, no, just smell it or something, whatever. She never drinks it. And then she'll be like, she'll smell it and be like, woo! It's strong stuff. Yeah, Devil's Cut is super high proof. It's very high proof. Oh, man. Aegis Silver Radio says, I've heard drunk tabletop games are only fun if everyone's drunk. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been drunk at a game. I don't know that I've ever been drunk anyway. I've been a little buzzed, but I don't think I've ever really been what you would consider be drunk, you know? But I was certainly never at a D&D game. I don't think that I would enjoy that. I think that would be pretty off-putting to me. But that's just because I'm not comfortable around that kind of thing a whole lot, you know? So. Okay, so Kristen Fraser says, in Michigan you can find Crown Royal everywhere. Okay, cool. I'll have to look for it then. Thank you. There was a question up here. How is your Pathfinder game going? Any fun stories you can share? It's going well. We're going to play this Sunday. Fun stories to share. What do I have? What kind of fun stories? Well, so this is something that happened recently. So we have 6 players. Squirty Pie has joined us. Yeah? We have 6 players, and one of them, Tara, they were in a dungeon, okay, and there's some bad guys over here that are led by an Eton, or an Eton, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure you'll all correct me. I'm saying it wrong. There's a bunch of bad guys over here led by an Eton, and then there's a bunch of bad guys over here, fish folk, who are led by a Chul, which is a servant of an Aboleth. They're led by a Chul, okay? And these 2 factions are on the same dungeon level, and they're both fighting against each other. They both have a conflict with each other. So my players go down to this dungeon level, and they meet with the fish folk first, and they find out that they have talked with them and stuff, and they find out that there's this, servant of the dark high priest or something. There's this dark high priest over here, the Eton, and the fish folk are like, yo, we will help you with your objective. They're looking for this little tiny, like, coin that shines like the sun, basically. Long story why they're looking for that thing. And they're like, we'll help you find your thing if you go take care of these bad guys over here, because they're having like this turf war. And so then the players they go over here and talk to the Etten, these bad guys, and they're all like, hey, yeah, we'll help you if you go take care of the fish folk. And so then my players are just kind of like, well, we're probably gonna have to kill them both, but which one do we want to kill first? And so they go back over to the fish folk, and then one of my players, Tara, manages to sweet talk her way, and some of the other players went with her as well, into the Chul, the leader of the fish folk, the Aboleth servant, and they're in there talking to the Chul, and she did a really good job of role-playing that conversation. Excellent job of the talkie-talkie, and made some good dice rolls as well, and her character is built around being convincing, diplomacy, and that sort of thing. So role-played it very well, and then made some good dice rolls, and they ended up getting a bunch of the Chul told them, hey, okay, cool. He appointed Tara's character, whose name is, I forget the name of her character, but he appointed her character as as his chosen one, and put the fish folk under her command. And so she and the rest of the party ended up taking a bunch of fish folk with them over to fight the Etten and all of its minions. And so they had this big, massive battle where they're like wiping out all of the Etten's minions, and the fish folk are dying as well. The fish folk are really, really low levels, so they're dying as well. And the Etten's, minions are dying, and there's this big battle, and they're all dying. And then finally they fight against the Etten, and they are fighting against the Etten, and the Etten, like, when you drop to 0 hit points, he turned into this shadow creature, and they're like, oh, now we thought it was dead, but it's the shadow creature and stuff. And then there was a puzzle attached to this monster that they had to solve the puzzle. It had to do with some candles and stuff that they had to put out to actually destroy the shadow, because the Etten was the high priest he served what's the name of that? So in Eberron, there is the Dark Six, and one of them, I think it's the Mockery. I think he was a high priest of the Mockery, which is like a god of darkness and shadows and crap and stuff, I think, if I'm getting it correct. I'd have to look at my notes to be sure. But they had to put some candles out and stuff to defeat the shadow and stuff. So they had a little puzzle to solve while they're in this middle of this combat and stuff. So it was pretty cool. One of my players doesn't like stage bosses. Like, he has this thing where, like, if there's different stages to a boss, like, this is the boss, but then all of a sudden, oh no, it turns into a different boss. He doesn't like that, so he was annoyed. But I'm just like, I don't care. That's a thing, dude. So anyway, that was fun. I thought that was pretty cool. And now they are they're in a different part of that same dungeon doing some stuff, and they're probably gonna go back and kill that Chul, I would guess. Because they know he's bad. They know he's a bad guy, and so they're like, we probably should just go kill him. So they're probably gonna go do that. But that was lots of fun. That was a fun game session. Dirty White Yama says, I got here just in time to hear Squirty Pie's greeting. Yeah, she left now. Yeah, she's a wine butt. Oh my goodness, we're an hour into this already. Time flies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a giveaway going on. Please join the giveaway at the link in the chat. We will draw the winner at the end of the stream. You can win $50 DM Lair store credit. And we have hardcovers of Lairs and Legends 1, hardcovers of Secret Art of Game Mastery. So if you want to get those bad boys, if you missed those Kickstarters, they are on our store. We have Lair Magazine over there. We have map packs. We have Foundry VTT packs. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff over on the DMLair.com. And the winner of the giveaway will get a $50 store credit. Get some cool crap from the store. And we're going to draw the winner at the end of the stream. Also, we are currently raising money for the City Rescue Mission of Lansing. They are a local organization here close to where I live that helps out the homeless and those without food and shelter. So we're raising money for them. We're currently at $125 raised. Our goal is $500. If you'd like to help donate to help out folks who need help, then please do it through tipping. There is a link down in the chat. You click it and you can send your tip over that way. And And we have little perks here. If you donate $25, I will do push-ups on stream for you, and $50 will get me to dance. And I am an amazing dancer. Definitely amazing dancer. All right. Oh, I forgot to mention too, we do have pre-orders. So we recently had a Lairs and Legends 2 Kickstarter that ended a couple of weeks ago. And if you missed that, pre-orders are now open. So if you go over to, well, let's just navigate over there. We should be able to get a link in the chat, but if you just type into your browser, lairsandlegends.com, it's going to redirect you to here, to our Kickstarter page, and then you can just click the pre-order button, and then you can go over to the pre-orders right here. So if you missed this Kickstarter and want to get these 2 big, fat, massive books filled with Game Master resources, then you can do a pre-order as well. So those are now open as well, if you are interested in that. This guy's got a fluffy bucket. It's bucket time. What's your advice on handling TPKs? I don't know that there's anything to handle for a TPK. If it happens, it happens, and then you roll up new characters. So it's probably more complex than that. What would I say about handling TPKs? It depends on if you have a specific thing in mind about TPKs, then let me know. But I don't tend to. There are some times when a TPK just feels kind of crummy and wrong. Like if it's some minions or mooks, if it was an encounter that should have been easy but somehow turned out to be hard or something. Like, I don't know. There are some times that TPKs feel kind of crappy, but there are other times where a TPK just feels like, well, it was the boss of the adventure, man. It was tough and it was really hard, and that's just life, So, but I don't know. I tend to not protect my players from TPKs. If it happens, it happens. Now, I try to build the encounters and such in a way that TPKs are unlikely to happen, which is hard to do in D&D 5th edition. The higher the levels you get, generally, well, actually, the higher the level in D&D 5th edition, the more invincible the characters are, and the less likely a TPK is. But the problem is that what I run into for D&D 5th edition is that because I know that players at high levels are so invincible, I buff my enemies big time. Big, massive buffs, huge buffs, which makes them deal damage and do other crazy stuff like lair actions and effects and stuff. So that makes things a lot harder, but it's hard to balance for that because you're really just guessing. Like, D&D 5th edition is so unbalanced and so poorly designed at the higher levels that you're, as a game master, if you want to make it challenging, you have to buff everything considerably and just throw the game balance rules out the window. And at that point, you're mostly just playing it by your gut, and just taking your best educated guess, and you're hoping that it turns out okay. And that's like the frustration of D&D 5th edition at higher levels. Like above 12, you start to run into that. Above 17 for sure. Oh my gosh, I'm at level 20 right now, and it's like a crap shot. Just guessing, just taking wild guesses. I'm just like, well, this monster here is probably going to be a pushover. It's like a CR 28, and I know it's going to be a pushover. I'm like looking at its damage output. It can't, over the course of 10 rounds, it could not kill the barbarian in my party. How can they possibly make a CR 28 monster that, if it were to fight just against the barbarian, wouldn't be able to kill him in 10 rounds? How is that going to even come close to being any sort of challenge for an entire group of level 20s? And so I'm looking at some of these things and I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. The damage output is nothing. It's impossible. And then if you have a cleric in the party, well, then the damage output is meaningless because the cleric can heal everybody to full health multiple times a day, you know? So you have to crazy buff stuff. Like I've taken level 30s. I've taken CR 30s with minions, throw them at my party, and they munch on them. I've buffed them too. I buff them, make them harder, and they munch on these guys. They munch on them. So I don't know how we got on that topic. Oh, we were talking about TPKs. So TPKs are hard to have happen in D&D 5th edition. You gotta really go crazy for that. But I don't know. I tend to just let them play as they lie. It was hard at first in my Pathfinder 2 game because I didn't know the system super well. And so I wasn't balancing my encounters very. I was throwing stuff at my players that they just couldn't handle. And I didn't know any better because I was new to it, you know. Now I know a few things more than I did at the beginning. I'm obviously not super great at it still. I'm still learning and stuff. You've only been playing it for a year. You know, you play a game for a year, you've learned a few things, but you're not an expert by any means. This is going to take a while before you. I feel like once I played Pathfinder, what are we, level 4 or 5 right now? We've been playing for a year. We're like level 4 or 5. But I feel like once you've played a game for like a year, you're gonna know some things. But once you get all the way to level 20, then I feel like it's like, all right, now you've experienced this game for probably 3 years or something, and you've played the entire range of stuff. So now you probably can say that, hey, you know, I've learned the ropes at this point, more than likely. Mr. Gore says that damage is very undertuned on a majority of high CR monsters in 5th edition. Yeah, I for all intents and purposes, I probably just, my rule of thumb sometimes is just to double the damage. I literally just double the damage. It's like, I gotta double the damage output and give them minions, you know, like proper, like the minions are like CR 15s or something. They're like serious, they're hardcore, you know, and that's the only way to have any semblance of a challenge, you know. Oh, hey, Matthew Chamberlain, thank you for the $25 tip, man. I appreciate that. All right, so I gotta do some push-ups. All right. What a jerk. Hey, how about we just look at my dog instead? Look at the diaper doggy. Hey, she's being good. All right, I'll do my push-ups. Yes. Yes. Listen to Green Whiskey. Up the damage, don't up the health. If you increase health, you just make things a bog. Increasing health just makes the combat take longer, and that's not fun. Increase the damage, then things become more exciting and dramatic, and you're like, holy crap, this thing is dealing 100 points of damage around. Ah! That makes things more interesting. Don't increase health. Increase damage, always. All right, push-ups. Ow! That was my knee. All right, there you go. If anybody else would like to make me do push-ups, you can do so by donating $25 to our charity. There's a link in the chat if you'd like to send a tip over and make me do more push-ups. All right, let's get this over here. I just went to the gym yesterday. And my chest is a little bit sore still. Thanks, Matt. Miriam Lang says, I think I accidentally created a linear story for a one-shot. I don't want it to feel like railroading. Any advice? Yes. Linear games are not railroads. That is not a railroad. Many games are linear. Most games are linear. In so much that you have, I mean, geez, Most adventures, most campaigns, actually, can an adventure be linear? I don't think you would actually classify, I don't think an adventure can be classified as linear. A campaign can be linear. Like if you're running a module, they're mostly linear because everything is designed for level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. It's designed to be run in order. That's linear. But adventures can't really be linear unless there's like a certain series of events that have to take place in a certain order. Then you could say that an adventure is linear. But if you build your adventure like a standard dungeon, so like I think of all adventures like a dungeon. Even if you don't use a dungeon, even if it's not location based, or it takes place in a variety of different locations, the way that you want to build your adventure, the way that you want to build your dungeon, you never want a dungeon to be linear. That is, you never want there to just be one path through your dungeon. And if your adventure consists of different locations across the game world or different events, you probably never want them to only be able to be transversed in one direction, because then you do have literally a linear adventure, a linear dungeon. And those would be super, I feel like they're not the worst thing in the world, I suppose. It's not, I still wouldn't call it railroading. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's probably not the most satisfying thing in the world. So what I would do is I would design your adventure, your series of events, such that they can take place in any order, depending upon what the players do, the choices they make, and where they decide to go. In the same way that you design a dungeon map, a dungeon should never be linear. The different corridors, there should be different paths through the dungeon, different corridors and different rooms. You shouldn't be forced to just take one direction. I once had a cartographer make a map for us that was literally just this linear map, and there was no choices. It just, you have to go along the path. And I was like, no, redo that. You can't publish that. Then you can't make dungeon maps like that. So, but yeah, you don't want to do that for sure. So I mean, you just make it different. Make the events so that they can branch out to different things, you know. But the definition of a railroad, by the way, is not that it's linear. A lot of people will say, well, you're railroading them if they have to go on that adventure and then that adventure and that adventure. That's not railroading. That's running a linear game. That's running a linear campaign. And if you're running an adventure module like Curse of Strahd or Prince of the Apocalypse or like whatever, Abomination Vaults or whatever module you're running, those are all linear. They're all linear. And people will be like, well, you know, Curse of Strahd, they can go anywhere they want in that game world. Well, no, not really. Because if they're level 2 and they go to a level 5 adventure, they're probably all going to die. So that's not really going to work. So you can say that it's not linear and that it's a sandbox, but it's not true. The moment that you attach a level to an adventure, it's linear. And it can really only be encountered once the party is of close enough level to that adventure where they stand a reasonable chance of surviving and actually accomplishing the goal. But if you just plop a world down and say it's a sandbox, but there's like a level 20 adventure here and the party's level 3, it's not, they can't really go there and do that thing. Do they have the freedom to go there? Yeah, but they're gonna lose. They have no chance. So you can't really call that a sandbox. It's a linear adventure. Every adventure module is linear. They might have the guise, this ruse of being sandboxes, but they're not. Unless every single adventure has a way that it can be adjusted from level 1 to 20 so that no matter when the characters arrive, you can make it a level that they can actually overcome. It's not a sandbox. It's linear, right? And so linear, it's not, but it's not railroading. Railroading is when there is only one way to solve a problem. There's only one way to overcome a situation. For instance, there is an ogre and his minions in the dungeon. And the only way that you can defeat them, like the only way that you can solve the problem is just by slaughtering them all. That's the only solution. Slaughter them. You can't talk to them. You can't try to like bribe some of the minions so that they come to your side and then maybe fight against the giant with you. You can't sneak into the dungeon or something and then assassinate the giant. There's no way to like lure the giant out. The only way to overcome this adventure is you must literally do a frontal assault on that giant and his minions and kill them all. Like that's a railroad is when the players have no choices as to how to approach a situation, where there's only one answer to overcoming a situation. That is the definition of a railroad. I think this is one of the things that we frequently misdefine. We call things railroads, and it's not a railroad. It's a linear is not railroad. And many people run linear games. Many people run linear campaigns, and there's a perfectly valid style of play. It's not a railroad. I'll be right back. Copper Lord says, after seeing Luke DM, I've learned to do more talkie-talkie. Yeah, I mean, talkie-talkie is good stuff, man. It's good stuff. You know, you want to balance it. You want to have your share of combat. You want to have your share of exploration. But talkie-talkie is good. Like, you know, social interactions are good and they're enjoyable. Players enjoy them. I enjoy them, you know. Mike Khalees, what up, dude? Mike says, is it railroading when the only way to cross the river is on the back of a turtle? You've heard some of my stories before. That's like one of the most boring games I've ever been in. Oh my gosh. We literally, Mike, I'm pretty sure you're referring to this story, but we literally spent like a half an hour or more, maybe up to an hour. It's been a while. But I was in this game once where the dungeon master had us roleplay crossing a river. We roleplayed crossing a river. And the druid turned into a turtle. And he's like, okay, the druid's into a turtle. And only 2 of you can go across at a time. Which of you 2 are going first? We will. Okay, he takes you across. All right, now there are 3 of you left over here and 2 over here. Oh crap, we're gonna get attacked. Something bad's gonna happen. And the turtle comes across. And then he's like, all right, who's going on next? We are. Okay, cool. The turtle takes you across. All right, and then there are 4 of us here and there's 1 left here. We're gonna get attacked. Holy crap. And then the turtle goes back. That character gets on. And then they go back across. And the group is together. And then the druid turns back into a person. And then we continue adventuring. And we continue walking. We literally spent like a half an hour role-playing that. Why did we role-play crossing a river on the back of a turtle? Like, how could anyone like possibly think that that is like an interesting thing to do? Like, this is like time management 101. Okay, those are the scenes you just cut through, right? You have slow time, you have fast time, and then you have cuts where you're just like, this is an uninteresting part of the game. We're gonna montage it and we're gonna cut over to the interesting part of the game because you want to spend the majority of your game time doing things that are of interest to you and your players. And the boring crap, you don't do that. You just hand wave it, you montage it, you take care of it away from the game table, whatever. But you don't want to spend your game time, your precious bit of game time, role-playing something that nobody cares about and that is inconsequential. I pronounced that word wrong. Something that's inconsequential to the game. It has no impact, no bearing. Your choices are meaningless. They don't matter because nothing was going to happen while you were crossing that river. It's stupid. So don't spend your game time doing stupid crap. That's the lesson here. Sharky Goofball, it was boring. It was horribly boring. And Sharky Goofball, let me tell you too, in this same game, this was back when I was in college. Was it college or just after college? It was a while ago. In this same game, we had a wizard and she Oh my word. You have never seen a more indecisive spellcaster in your life. Holy crap. I am not exaggerating. It took her 5 to 10 minutes every time it was her turn in combat to choose her spell. We're waiting 5 to 10 minutes on each of her turns for her to pick her spell. The pacing of this game was abysmal. Abysmal. This game master had no idea how to pace their game, how to keep things moving, how to keep things exciting. They just let the players, I don't know, man. But this wizard, she's just like, oh my gosh, holy crap, pick your spells. Like, the rest of us are taking your turns. Look at your book. No, just pick something. You're gonna cast Fireball half the time anyway. Just say Fireball. Why? Anyway, that was another part of that game that was like unbearable. I only played in that game once. I never went back. Oh, that was horrible. That was horrible. Ugh. Robert says Turtle Crossing. It sounds like the Turtle Crossing was fun in the moment because you didn't know if you were going to get attacked, so you had tension. Only in retrospect was it disappointing. That's a very good point. And it was a huge disappointment. A huge disappointment. Because it was like the Game Master could have done something so cool. You had the setup for a really dynamic and interesting combat. Can you imagine if when there was this big, it was a big river. It was not like a small river. You had this big river, right? Can you imagine what would have happened if like 3 of the players are over here, the turtle, or 2 of the players are over here, the turtle is in the middle of the river with 2 players on his back, and then you have 1 player over here. Can you imagine if at that moment we were attacked by something and a combat started with that setup? Oh, that could have been cool. Cool. And I was waiting for that because I was a game master. I'm like, this is coming. We're going to get attacked. It's going to, what? Why? It was such a letdown. And that made it worse, right? Because you thought something cool was going to happen and then there was nothing. It's like, wow, that sucked. Anticlimactic to the extreme. It's like, get me all worked up for nothing. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you could have had anything attack. A water dragon, anything could have attacked, and it would have been preferable to what we did. Good pacing in a game leaves me wrapped around a tree. I don't know what that means. How long will the stream last? We got about a half an hour more. Matthew says that sounds like a TPK waiting to happen. Yeah, if you got attacked crossing that stream, that could be rough. That could be really rough, which is why it would be so exciting. Now imagine if you're not crossing a stream, you're crossing a river of lava. Let's up the ante a little bit. Oh, baby, that could be fun. Have you ever tried any prophecy, fortune telling, or foreseeing the future in any of your games? If so, how did it go? If no, how would you go about doing that? Well, I don't know if you, I mean, I've done foreshadowing, right? Where I will present the players with a bit of foreshadowing. Like for instance, in my my D&D 5th edition game that I run for patrons, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I know I have at least 3 of my patrons are on the stream right now that play in that game. But I had this ziggurat, this temple to some ancient, long forgotten deity that the players came across as a point of interest. And as they explored it, they found out that it was a ziggurat to the horned god, who is the god that one of the player's characters, Kasim, worshipped. And Kasim, the player, had left our game, and Kasim had become an NPC at that point. And so there were these prophecies about this horned god that, you know, someday he would come back and he would rise in power and glory, and he would like essentially defeat the rest of the pantheon, you know, and trod over them and become like the one god or something. And so they found this ziggurat that had these prophecies and stuff, and they were, at the moment, I don't know what they thought of it, but we moved on, and then eventually, now they've actually confronted Kasim, who was the avatar of the Horned God, who had a deity within him, who had returned to the prime material plane, who had taken this Book of Tongues, which was a tomb of, what is that artifact, that ultimate evil book? It's an artifact. What's the real name of it? Because I never used the real name. I always called it the Book of Tongues, because it literally had like tongues nailed to the cover of it. It was like a leather tome with tongues nailed to the cover. But he used the power from that, and he did a bunch of different stuff. And he basically, Kasim, as the Horned God's avatar, destroyed all of the pantheon. All of the gods destroyed, and he took over, essentially. But that took a lot of his power. And so he was in a very compromised and weakened state when my players actually confronted him, and they just managed to defeat him. And now they're on to doing something else really fun. I don't know what my point was. But so it wasn't prophecy, kind of. It was foreshadowing more, in my opinion. But no, I don't think we've ever gotten into like true prophecy or fortune telling a whole lot. Book of Vile Darkness, that's the one. Book of Vile Darkness. It was in the movie The Mummy. I'm not sure what that's referenced to. I think I've seen The Mummy once, though. My wife really likes that movie for some reason. I think she likes the actor. Who is his name? Brendan Fraser or something? Is that the name of the main guy, actor dude in The Mummy? It was something like that. Thoughts on exploring dungeons by moving tokens over a grid on Roll20? I find it to be such a drag. I find I'm starting to prefer theater of the mind mostly. Yeah, you know, I mean, for online games, we always have a map, and we always just use tokens and drag them over a map on Roll20. Like, in my in-person games, when we are exploring dungeons, I don't do that. I don't literally draw out every grid on a map. It would take way too long. It would slow gameplay down. And so what I do is I sketch out like a map. I call it a HUD, a heads-up display. I sketch out a little map on an 8.5 by 11 that shows the players like the layout, so they know where they've been, and they can kind of see that, you know. And then I'll explain everything, and we'll do actual exploration as theater of the mind in my in-person games. The only time that we pull out grid and minis is you bite me like that, you little butthead. I got whacked. He got whacked. Little turd. He stole his mom's food today too. Little butthead. What I do for my in-person games is if it's a combat, then we break out the grid and minis. I don't trust him now. He just tried to bite me. You need to calm down. Holy crap. Exploration is theater of the mind, and then grid and minis if it's combat. But for Roll20 or for Foundry VTT, when we're playing, like, you have the entire map of the dungeon, so we just move our tokens. Otherwise, what I'd have to do is like draw out a hand-drawn map as they explore so they can keep track of things, which would take me forever, so I'm not gonna do that. So, a love bite. Yeah, it was a love bite, and I gave him a love tap too. I got whacked. I got whacked. Little butthead. Brendan and Rachel and the Mummy feels like the last of the great 80s or 90s action movies. Squeaky says you need to shut up and pet me. Yeah, dude, this is the crazy thing. Movies these days kind of suck. Like, my wife and I enjoy going to the movie theater, but most of the movies we see are horrible, horrible, horrible. They're just abysmal garbage, between like the adult language, between the themes, between all of the different horse crap that they're trying to promote that have nothing to do with the movies and entertainment and have to do with like their political beliefs or something. I don't know. Like, movies are just garbage, and a lot of them are just poorly put together too. So what we have noticed is there is a theme in movie theaters that they're now putting out older movies that have been out before. You know, like the other day we went and saw Wizard of Oz, and I think there's some others that we have seen as well. And I kind of like it because you can go to see a movie that you've seen before that you know is good and just enjoy it and relax and have popcorn. You know, whereas a lot of these newer movies, you're like rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice because half of them or more are just abysmal and suck. Now, Dune Part 2. Yes, I have seen Dune. I saw Dune Part 1 and I've seen Dune Part 2 and I liked them. Those were really good. Oh, wow. I liked those a lot. I think Dune Part 1 was like better, right? That one was amazing. Dune Part 2 was like, it was good. I enjoyed it. But I don't know, it didn't evoke that same feeling of like, oh my word, this is good. You know what I mean? And I'm not like a movie critic, so I can't put words to my feelings to explain it. But Dune Part 1 was amazing. Part 2 was still good. I'd still go see it again. But it didn't evoke those same feelings as like Part 2. But I mean, they gotta keep making more, right? Like they're gonna make more of these students because like I wanna know what happens. I wanna see the rest of what happens and unfolds, you know? They're doing a really good job of that stuff. It's really, really cool. I like it a lot. I hate musicals though. My wife and I do not like musicals. We can't do musicals. We this was like years ago, but we went to see Frozen, the Disney movie Frozen, and we don't go to Disney movies anymore anyway. But we went to go see Frozen, but we didn't know it was a musical, and so we get there and we're like, oh, we're gonna see a cartoon, whatever, you know. And then it turns out it was a musical, and we're both like, oh, we hate musicals. I can't believe it. Well, at least we got popcorn. At least we have popcorn. I saw Godzilla -1. I haven't seen almost any Godzilla movies. Like the only Godzilla movie that I remember seeing was when I was like 10. And the only thing I remember is that like the voices didn't match their lips. And I'm just like, I couldn't comprehend it. I'm like, what is wrong with these movies? Like they're so poorly made that like I can hear the voices in English, but their lips aren't matching. Like what's wrong with these movies? And like obviously now I know that it was because it was originally in Japanese, I believe, and it was dubbed. But like as a 10-year-old, I had no idea. I was just like, this is stupid. It doesn't even match up, man. And so I just remember I never really took to the Godzilla movies, but I did see the one that's on theaters now, and I kind of liked it. It was just, I don't know, it was just kind of one of those mindless watch, you know, big monsters beat each other up type of movies, you know. And I think that it probably mostly appealed to me because I haven't really seen any of the Godzilla movies, and so I was kind of like being introduced in a way to the genre. And so to me, it was a novel experience. But as far as like, was it good from the standpoint of a movie? I don't know about that. It was just something new to me. And so I think it was appealing for that reason. But my wife hated it. Oh, my wife hated it. My wife was like, she was under her coat for most of the movie, like on her phone. She was like covering herself up, slouching in her chair on her phone because like she hated it so bad. I think she was putting her earbuds in and stuff because during the movie they kept on making this like screeching noise. You know, the sounds that Godzilla and all the monsters make. They kept making the same screeching noise, and my wife hated it. It was like getting on her nerves and stuff. So she did not like that movie at all. It was bad. I mean, for her. It's a Disney cartoon. They're all musicals. Are they? I don't think so. Like Lion King and stuff. Those aren't musicals. Have you ever walked out of a theater because the movie was so bad? Yes. I think once. I was in college and some friends what was it? No, I was with some friends, and then we were hanging out with some other people or something, and they invited us to a movie, and we went to see a movie, and I don't remember the name of the movie, but you know how there's like horror movies, and then they kind of do spoofs on horror movies, and they kind of make fun of them. Well, it's a famous horror movie, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's where there's like a girl who's possessed, and she like just pees on the floor. She comes out and pees on the floor. It's a famous movie. I can't remember the name of it now. I haven't really seen it because I don't like horror movies. But what is the name of that? What, do you guys remember the name of that? Somebody's got to know. And they made a spoof on it. This was like 20 years ago. This is a long time ago, but it's a famous horror movie. Scary Movie. Yeah, I think that's the one. But this girl came, like, it was within the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like, she just walked out. The Exorcist. Yes, The Exorcist. So it wasn't The Exorcist, but it was a spoof they made of The Exorcist, or at least it had a segment from The Exorcist. And the girl comes out and she's just like peeing on the floor for like, wow, several minutes. Just constant, that's it. Standing there peeing on the floor for several minutes. And the Scary Movie was the spoof. Yeah, it was the Scary Movie. And so that happened, and then I looked at my friend looked at me or whatever, and we're like, we're not gonna stay for this. And so we stood up and just walked out. We're like, we're not watching this stupid garbage. So I remember walking out on that movie. There may have been some others or something. I don't recall exactly. That's Scary Movie 2? Okay, yeah. I thought I saw a question up above. Oh, somebody said that they walked out of Hostel. The second half was too gruesome for me. Dude, I think that reminds me, I'm pretty sure that I rented Hostel on Netflix. This is back when Netflix was still all DVDs that you would mail in and get through the mail. I got Hostel through Netflix. This was like over 10 years ago for sure. Maybe 15 years ago. It was a while ago. It was like in 2008, roughly around 2008. And I had gotten Hostel through Netflix DVD, and I think I made it through like 10 minutes or something. I did not make it very long at all. Like, I can't do scary movies, man. And then, what was it? Do you guys remember the movie The Ring? Oh man, that movie freaked me out. Oh gosh. I can't do scary movies. Oh dude, that stuff messes me up. I can't do that stuff. Yeah, I know. Hostel was like torture stuff. Yeah, I can't do that. Like I think I got to the part in Hostel where like they had kidnapped a person, tied him to a chair, and they started to cut him up, and I'm like, I'm done. Turned that off and walked away. I'm like, woo, I'm not watching that crap, man. That's gonna freak me out, man. Yeah, I don't watch horror movies. That stuff is messed up, man. Jacob says little girls with wet hair are weirdly scary. Yeah. And then when they're walking, they're like all disjointed and they skip frames and stuff. Like there's this what do you call it? There's a way that they always do this. I forget the name of that. There's an English word that's escaping me. But they're all disjointed and skipping frames and going fast and stuff. And yeah, it's always just this freaky. There's like a systematic way though they always portray them, but it's freaky. I don't know. Do you ever use situations where the PC's most likely response is at odds with the reality of the situation? For instance, a smuggled troll in stasis gets loose on the sailing ship the PCs are on. Okay, let me read that again. Do you ever use situations where the PC's most likely response is at odds with the reality of the situation? I don't think I understand that fully. I'm sorry. Is it okay in a campaign to limit classes or races, mainly for the makeup of your world you create? Would that make players upset? It's almost assuredly gonna, yeah, there's a strong likelihood that limiting races or classes is going to at least make some of your players a little bit upset. It's almost assuredly going to happen. Now, not necessarily, right? But generally speaking, when somebody's like, yeah, we're going to play Pathfinder 2 or we're going to play D&D, they're like, oh, cool. And they're going to start going, you got 5 players or something. They're going through the book and they're just like, oh man, I love monks. Monks look so cool. And then they like, and then you're like, well, actually we don't use monks in my game. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I could do something else, but they're going to be a little disappointed at the very least, more than likely, or if you're like, there are no elves in my game, or there are no dwarves or something, like, yeah, they might be a little let down or something. But it's like, as the game master, it's within your prerogative to limit those things 100%. But the fact of the matter is that some players are not going to like it if you do limit those things. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't limit them, right? It's just a fact. Some players will be a little upset, or they'll be let down, or they won't like the restrictions. It will happen, it's just a fact. Some players won't like that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but so you have to decide whether you want to limit stuff or not. I put limits on certain things, like for my Pathfinder 2 game, I told them I only want to use common options for player options, only stuff that's common, no uncommons and no rares, right? And then now that we've played for about a year or so, recently, about 2 game sessions ago, I told my players, okay, you know what? I feel like I've run this game enough that I feel comfortable if you all want to start using uncommon options, like for classes or archetypes or something, races and stuff like that. Not spells, not spells, not spells. Okay, but other things you can use uncommon if you'd like. At some point, I'll probably open up the rare stuff and just be like, okay with it. But you're fine to limit things, Killer Kitty says Luke can't watch scary movies, but he puts eye-gouging dolls in his Curse of Strahd campaign that gave me nightmares. I'm sorry. You see, I can't watch horror movies and scary movies, but I can have that stuff in my role-playing games, and I have no problem with it at all. Like, to me, it's so different, like, to see it, like, on the screen, like a movie or a TV or something. That's so different to me than simply having it in your D&D game. Like, there's just a night and day difference, for me at least, And so, yeah, eye gouging dolls is not a problem in a D&D game. But if I ever saw Chucky, oh man, oh gosh, that freaks me out, man. Because I have there are dolls in my house, dude. And the thought of one of them coming to life is terrifying. So I don't want to see that on screen because it just makes it real, So, yeah. Okay, guys, don't forget, we have a giveaway going on tonight. There is a link down in the chat for you to sign up to the giveaway. You can win $50 DM Lair store credit, where you can get Lairs and Legends 1. You can get Secret Art of Game Mastery. We have Lair magazine issues over there. We have map packs. We have Foundry VTT modules. We have whole bunches of cool stuff over on the DMLair.com. And the winner of the giveaway will get $50 store credit to get something really cool for your games. So join the giveaway. Thoughts on the 1D&D news? What 1D&D news are you referring to? The last news that I saw about 1D&D was that they're planning on releasing it into the SRD, into Creative Commons, which I thought was excellent news. That it made me feel a little bit more hope in the trajectory of D&D, in the trajectory of Wizards of the Coast. Now, yes, putting 1D&D into Creative Commons was a promise that they made a little bit over a year ago when they were on their apology tours, when they were trying to put out the fires of all of the horrible things and the chaos and the money loss that the OGL scandal caused them. So it was one of the promises that they made. So you could say that, well, you should expect them to keep their promises. Well, no, you shouldn't, because after the OGL scandal, like, they literally broke a 20-year-old promise. They were trying to break a 20-year-old promise with the OGL scandal. And so, like, they broke trust. They totally broke trust. And so to see them say that they're going to put 1D&D into the Creative Commons, now, of course, they still have to do it, right? But to see them say that they're going to do it, reconfirming over a year later that, hey, we are planning on doing it, that makes me feel good. And I obviously hope they do it, right? I saw that article, I read it, and I saved that page as a PDF. And I was like, I want proof. I gotta have this saved on my computer. They said they were gonna do it. They said they were gonna do it. So that was the first thing I did, is I saved that as a PDF. I'm like, I have to have proof, that they promised to do this. So that made me feel good to see them recommitting to putting 1D&D into the Creative Commons. That's really cool. And I think that we've also seen that, I was talking to one of my players, Joe, and he's been using a lot of the playtest material for 1D&D, and because it's not an actual playtest, it's just like, here, preview stuff, maybe give us some feedback. We probably don't have time to implement any of it because printing cycles being what they are, but he was using some of it. He has been using some of it, and he told me, like, I was talking to him, I was like, is it compatible with, like, what we currently have? And he's like, yeah, it's pretty much compatible. Yeah, absolutely. And so, and I trust Joe. Joe's super, super intelligent, highly analytical, smart guy. He does artificial intelligence stuff as for his job. He's a consultant. He has a PhD. He was working on his master's, I think he has his master's. I think he's working on his PhD in, like, artificial intelligence, computer programming crap. And he does consulting work on that. So he's smart, analytical dude. And so when he told me that it's compatible, I was like, oh, well, I trust Joe. And so that made me feel a little bit of hope too, because my fear was that it wasn't going to be compatible. And also my fear was too, is that they were going to try this walled garden crap and not put the 1D&D 5.5, 6th edition, whatever. They weren't going to put it into the Creative Commons. But to see them recommit themselves a year later to say, yeah, we're going to do it, that made me feel really good. So I am tentatively optimistic about the direction that D&D is going in general and that Wizards of the Coast is going. I think also, frankly, that Cynthia Williams, is it Cynthia Williams? I always get those two confused. What's the name of the CEO of Wizards that just resigned? What was her name? Was it Cynthia Williams or it was something else? I get the names confused because there was like the Williams or something who ran TSR and ran it into the ground, but I get their names confused because they're so super similar. But anyway, when I saw the news that their CEO, is it Cynthia Williams? Okay. Who was the other? Was it Lorraine Williams? Who's the other Williams that ran TSR into the ground just before Wizards of the Coast bought it? Lorraine Williams. Thank you. There we go. I get them confused. So when I saw the news that Cynthia Williams resigned, scapegoat, and she was probably one of the principal architects behind the OGL crap anyway, the scandal, trying to revoke it or whatever. So when I saw that she had been let go, resigned, however you want to spin it, I was like, yay, that's probably a good sign. And now we're seeing that it's probably going to be pretty compatible, and then we're seeing that they're going to put it into Creative Commons. So generally, if they can just stay away from doing stupid crap like AI art, which is interesting because they laid off a whole lot of artists. Was that when they did their whole their whole bunches of layoffs and stuff? Weren't there a whole bunch of artists that were let go as well? pretty sure that there were. And we know that they dabble in AI art to some extent. And I don't follow the news and all that kind of stuff super closely. But you gotta wonder, how are they gonna get all their artwork? Unless it's just through freelancers. That's possible, 100% possible. I mean, I get all my artwork through freelancers. I don't have staff artists, so that's totally possible. It's way more economical for a business to have freelance work and not have people on staff for a variety of reasons. So I could totally see them, if they're penny pinching, to move to freelance work over staff. That makes sense. No, come on, get out of here, no, go. He's about to puke. He's literally about to puke. And he was on my desk. I had to run him out of here. Oh man. There he goes. He's puking. There it is. I'll be cleaning that up. He almost did it on my desk. Jeez. Lorraine Williams, heir to the Buck Rogers IP. Oh my gosh, Buck Rogers. Nobody cares about that horrible horse crap. Did you see the player handbook cover art for 1D&D? No. Wait, Michael says she's now the CEO of Funko. I think she wasn't fired, but left for a better paying and much easier job. Yeah, maybe. And I mean, heads were gonna roll at some point too. So she probably, you see the writing on the wall. Like, I've left companies before when I saw the writing on the wall, like things aren't going well. And like the plant manager is just like chopping people's heads off left and right. It's like, either I get a different job or I wait until it's my turn. I'm gonna find a different job. So she probably saw the writing on the wall and jumped. Raven's Path confirms that many of the artists are gone. Dreams God says the new player handbook cover art. 1D, okay, come on. 1D&D PHB cover art. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, I found it. Looks like it's on Dicebreaker. Let's go take a look at it. Just go away. I don't care about cookies. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I feel like that's everybody. When these stupid cookie pop-ups come up, you're just like, leave me alone. Just go away. Stop bothering me about your stupid cookies. Nobody cares. Here's what the cover of Dungeons and Dragons 2024 Player's Handbook looks like. Okay. That's like super not rendered very much artwork. But that's the interesting thing. D&D's style is they don't render their artwork very much. It's very low render. Whereas Pathfinder 2 like has highly rendered, I love Pathfinder 2 artwork. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But low rendered artwork I think is cheaper and faster to make. So I'm sure that's why they do that. All new races, no more additions, more of the spin, no more additions. Yeah, but I guess, if they're gonna go to online gaming and mobile and stuff, not having additions makes sense because, yeah, it makes sense. Oh, here's the big cover. I don't know why. I'm not gonna comment on artwork, whether it looks funky or may not be AI. I am not getting into that game. I don't play that game. There are other people that like to play that game on Twitter, and they make bad calls, and then they get flam blasted for it. So I don't play that game. But yeah, cover art. Okay, cool. It reminds me of there's cover art that looks the cover of Sword Coast Adventures Guide or whatever is kind of similar in setup to this. adventures on a rock with monsters coming at them or something. Obviously, it's different, but yeah, interesting. I wish they would render their artwork more. You know, it's just such low render. Anyway. Hi, Tomb, a cookie rejector. That's not the whole image, Luke. Yeah, I know, but I'm not going to go searching for whatever. It doesn't matter. It looks similar to the Dragonlance cover. Interesting. It's the composition that is wonky. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an artist, you know? I don't know anything about that crap. I just know something is cool when I see it. And it gets me excited. There will also be alt covers? Yeah. Michael says I just did that and now my new company just got bought out. Oh, you jumped for a better company and they got bought out? So you got maybe 6 more months? Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. That sucks. Dirty White Yama says you don't want cat puke on your desk. What's wrong with you? I know. Taylor Corner says, do you find that players do quests in homebrew or adventure path type campaigns? Or do you find players prefer to just go straight through the entire campaign without doing those quests? Are you talking about what quests? I don't know what. When I give my players a quest, they go do it. I'll give them options usually. They have options, but then they go do them. They usually go do them. So I'm not sure exactly what you're asking for. But my players, if I give my players a plot hook, they almost always go after it. Bob Mole says, if alt covers is a thing, then a boring normal cover makes sense. Ooh, you better believe it does. Because like if the normal cover is kind of like meh, and the alt cover is amazing, you're gonna have more alt cover sales. And here's a secret for you. The price of an alt cover is not higher because it costs the publisher more to create the alt cover. Unless it's leather, then of course it costs a lot more. But the real value in an alt cover and the reason why you pay more for it is collectability, it's scarcity, right? You're gonna pay $15+ more for an alt cover because there are only so many of them that's gonna be made and you wanna have it. And it's scarcity. You're paying for scarcity, you're paying for collectability, you're paying for coolness. But it doesn't actually cost the publisher any extra money to make alt covers unless they have leather or something, or like, you know, fancy foil or stuff like that. But the alt covers are just, it's different. It's just different artwork. It's still the same cover. It's still the same material. So it costs them nothing extra. They're literally able to charge $15+ more for it just because of scarcity, you know? So if you can encourage people to get the alt covers, then you're just printing money, right? What kind of laptop do you use for DMing? I don't use a laptop. I use an iPad because it's small. I don't need to use my tablet a whole lot. Cat hair. In my D&D games, my Pathfinder 2 games. Luke, trying to sell alt covers. Also, Luke, alt covers don't cost more. It's the truth, man. What do you want me to say? It's the truth. I sell alt covers, and it's the same principle. There aren't that many of them. They're scarce. If you want them because they're cool, then you're going to pay more for them. It's the way it works. Nobody's trying to hide anything. This is all just normal. This is all it's probably common knowledge, I would imagine. Maybe it's not, because not everybody knows what printing costs are. How many turns is in 1 minute? 10. A turn? Well, the number of turns in 1 minute can be infinite, depending on how many combatants there are in a combat. But the number of rounds in 1 minute is 10. Well, one turn is 6 seconds, but you can have many turns during combat. Like if you have 100 combatants, then you have 100 turns in one round. A round lasts 6 seconds, and then there are 10 rounds in a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna draw the winner to the giveaway. I am getting out of here. I have work to do before I go to bed tonight. A lot of work to do. I was doing video recording, filming up. Today was a filming day, and I have a whole bunch of crap I gotta get done. So we're gonna draw the winner to the giveaway as soon as I find the right screen, and then I'm going to bed. I think I found it. I have found it. All right, let's do this. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Drawing the winner to the giveaway right now. I don't know if you're just a regular Jacob from Norway or if you've won before, but you've won. Jacob from Norway. I know you were here tonight. I don't know if you're still here, but congratulations, you've won the giveaway. I will send you an email. We're gonna get you hooked up, dude, with some DM Lair store credit. All right, we're done here. We will see you next week. I will be on next Thursday. I'll be back reading horror stories, RPG horror stories, and reacting to them, and probably drawing some game master lessons out of them as well, I imagine, which is something I like to do. Add a little bit of value to it, besides just like being like outraged over something stupid that happened in a game. So, oh yeah, Jacob is here. You did win before? Jacob's like, I keep winning. I don't know, man. It's a random drawing. But like, there are only like 40 so people that enter these things, so your chances of winning are very high if you enter the giveaways. What can I say? All right, guys. I'm taking off. It's been cool hanging out. I'll see you next week. Wee. All right, end the stream.